Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream. And as you know, today is Wednesday, and Wednesday is the day where you get this stream from Dabble Labs where I build a skill using the Python SDK. And this stream is a bit special because I've never done two streams back to back where one is the continuation of other. But last time I was just trying out something new, and as it happened that I was stuck in some place, before I could conclude the last stream. So this stream is just the continuation of that, and if you are a new viewer, so don't get confused. I'll do a recap of what we did last time and try and cover that in a much better way this time, because I feel last time I must have confused a few viewers here and there. So if you're new, just stay tuned. I'll be starting right away and showing you what we are going to do today. But before that, let me just see, how many of you have joined in. Startup Sanatan asks, hey, Startup Sanatan, you were actually here 10 minutes before, and it's really good to see that. It's people like you, because of whom I love this streaming part, because it's really good to see that people actually look forward to the streams that we do and interact with us. So thanks for stopping by. And you have a question there where you say that when is Dabble Labs happy birthday? Frankly speaking, even I don't know when Dabble Labs birthday is. But I'll definitely post that question to Steve and get back to you on that. That's an interesting thing. Maybe I can make a skill that reminds us of Dabble Labs birthday every year. So yeah, uh, let's just wait for a few other people to join in, and till that time, if you guys have any general questions or any queries, then just feel free to ask them. Just let me know if my screen is visible enough. I have increased the font size quite a lot so that everything is visible, and I hope my camera and mic, everything is working well and you guys are able to hear me. For those of who are here from India, a very happy Republic Day to everyone, and I hope you enjoyed the parade yesterday, just like every year. I really enjoy that, watching the parade on Doordarshan, because I feel that's the only time people switch to Doordarshan to uh, otherwise during the rest of the year that channel is like, we don't pay much attention to it. But yeah, on the Republic Day, we do exclusively search for that channel and switch to it to see the parade. So that's really nice. I just watched the part of the parade this year. So if you saw something interesting that came up, just let me know. Shubham Deshmukh is here. Hi Shubham. Thanks for coming. Shubham and Startup Sanatan. Like, I gotta give you guys some kind of an award or something, because you guys are highly regular. Wait, let me actually I'll actually make you guys moderators. I know we don't need moderators at this point of time, but I really feel that you guys are quite regular in our streams, and as we grow, not just my streams, Sohini streams every Friday. We have a couple of videos that come out, tutorial videos that come out every week. So yes, I'm really looking forward to you guys involving more and more in the streams that we do. And yeah, I've actually made both of you moderators. So from here on, if you just type in anything in the chat, so you'll see a small spanner icon. So as I told you, I don't think we really need mods at this point of time, but as we progress, and we'll need some people to moderate the chat and comments and all of those things. So I think this will come in handy. And just something that I could do from my side just to show a token of appreciation. So yeah, once again, thanks for stopping by in each and every stream of mine. We have some new viewers as well. Praveen says hi. Hey Praveen, thank you for stopping by. Oh, this is your first session. I hope you'll enjoy this session and get to learn something new. So don't worry if this is your first time. I'll try and make things explain things in as simpler words, as simple words as possible. So even you are able to follow it. Uh, like this is your first stream, that is good. But have you developed skills before? Just let me know in the chat if you've done that. And also, people who are watching this, if you're watching this live right now, or if you just tune in at a later point and you're playing this back, just let me know in the chat which language do you use to program, because I've seen that a lot of people, the majority of the audience uses Node.js to develop their code, whereas I use Python, and I know a few other developers who do the same, who use Python to develop their code. But I really want to know, what is the penetration of Python, and how many uh, how many people are actually using that language. Okay, so I think we have enough viewers, and we can just start with the development process. So to start with, this is the page to the GitHub repo that is being used in this video, and this is a template which demonstrates how you can use DynamoDB with an Alexa hosted skill. So there are if you're not aware of how Alexa skills can be hosted, so there are several ways to host an Alexa skill. So primarily, I think you can categorize them into three ways. The first one is hosting an Alexa skill on AWS Lambda. The second one is hosting an AWS skill backend on your custom server. And the third one is hosting the skill code on Alexa hosted, uh, yeah, as an Alexa hosted skill, which is available right there in the Alexa developer console. So all our tutorials that we cover in these live streams are made for the Alexa hosted skills, because Alexa hosted skills don't require any special thing like adding a credit card or any other that kind of a requirement, and you can simply just make a free account and start developing. And they make a lot of things easier. So as I will demonstrate the DynamoDB integration today, you'll understand that how easy the integration is, and how less actually you have to do in order to integrate uh, some of the AWS services directly with the Alexa hosted skill. So yeah, we've got some messages. Praveen Kumar says, subscribed. Actually, I'm fan of Alexa. I've integrated Alexa for business in my office. Hey Praveen, that's really good to know. If I would actually like to know more about it, because Alexa for business is actually not available in India directly. And I've seen this Alexa for business and Alexa for education. They actually have a very high demand, but due to some reasons they are not available in India, just like ISP. ISP is also not available in India. So I would really like to know, how did you make that integration, and what kind of an integration you did? If possible, we would love to cover that in one of our later live stream that happens in the coming weeks. So you can either tell me about that here, or you can just ping me on Twitter or LinkedIn, anywhere that you're comfortable with, and just let me know what you have done. And I'll definitely try and get in touch with you, and share that with the community as well, because I really feel that people need to know more and more about how Alexa is being used in the world around us, not just the skills that we see on the store, but in the form of realistic use cases, like in offices, in schools, in hospitals, in all of those places. So if any of you have done something like that, just let me know, and I'll be happy to share it with our audience. Um, okay, you've also been attending the Alexa meetups every week, which were happening in Bangalore. So good to know that, Praveen. I actually used to conduct the meetups here in Delhi. So I've actually also conducted and attended quite a few meetups here. So yeah, they were fun before the pandemic took over and we were forced to sit at home. But yeah, I hope we'll be soon back to the days where we could you know just go out there, meet people, have those meetups. I really miss those. There were some really interesting times. But never mind. This is a live stream session, and we'll move on with the development process. So this is the GitHub repo. As I told you, this contains the very basics of uh, how to integrate DynamoDB with an Alexa hosted example. If you go to the video section of Dabble Labs, so I'll just open it up. So on our channel, Luix Gaming says, sir, are you using Python? Yes, yes, Luix. I don't know what your real name is, but yes, we will be using Python for skill development. Every Wednesday, I stream where build skills using the Python SDK. And if you are a Node.js developer, then you can follow our channel, because we do live streams every Friday where my colleague Sohini, she streams every Friday at 9:30 p.m. IST, and she uses Node.js. So right now we support both of these languages, Python and Node.js. So you can tune into any of our streams and ask any questions that you have. So yeah, the thing that I wanted to show you is that if you go to the videos section, so you'll see that just 2 days ago we had a new video that came out. So this is a video which is a tutorial, and it demonstrates how you can build an Alexa skill, and integrate, not exactly build an Alexa skill, how you can integrate DynamoDB with an Alexa hosted skill. So if you just want to go over that, you can go and check out this video. And this video is based on the repo that I am showing you right here. So this is the GitHub repo that is being used in that particular tutorial. Okay, Luix Gaming says, I'm a student and I'm new to Python. Lux, it doesn't matter if you're new or old. You can start developing at any point of time. Uh, all you need to do is just search for Alexa Python SDK, and you'll just need to go through some basic documentation. You can also start following. This is episode 8 that we are doing. So you can go back and see my streams where I've started from literally from the very scratch, and the very first template is like covering the basics of Alexa skill development. So you can start with those templates, and anytime that you have any questions, just feel free to ask all of those questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, I believe we've spent enough time just talking to people. So I'll move on, and I'll move to the development part straight away. So the skill that we were building last time. I'll just give you a recap for the new viewers what we were actually building. So that skill was a birthday reminder skill, and it was the purpose of the skill was to take a date of birth from the user and save it in our database, and later on do operations like fetching that data, performing operations on that, and making changes to the database, like updating the table values, and deleting the attribute values and all of that. So we'll be doing all of that. I'll be showing you all of that today as well, that how we can do that, because in our last stream we weren't able to do that really well. So I'll just cover all of that quickly again today. So just ignore the name of the skill. I actually made the copy of the last one, so I just named it birthday reminder 2 instead of birthday reminder. the invocation name is the same. I'll show you how the skill is working, and then we'll just dive into the code part of it, or that how is it exactly working. So I'll say open birthday reminder.
Welcome to the Dabble Lab birthday reminder skill. What would you like to do?
What would I like to do? I would like to add a new birthday.
Please tell me the first name of the person whose birthday you want to add.
So it asked me for the first name of the person whose birthday I would like to add. So the name in this case would be, I would just give it my name. So I'll just say Rahul.
Okay. Now please tell me Rahul's date of birth.
So my date of birth, I don't know if it will work correctly or not. Actually, let me actually try and manage this. If I can change this to this microphone, yeah. Let me see if, because what I do is most of the time I just write it down. Okay, I'll just simply write it down. So I'll say 5th November 1992.
I've successfully saved the new birthday entry. What would you like to know?
So as you can see, it says that it has successfully saved the new birthday entry. So you can see that a small flow happened when we opened the skill. It asked us what we would like to do, and we said we would like to add a new birthday. It then asked for the name, and after the name, it asked for the date of birth. After which it successfully saved all of this information in our database. Let's have a look at where exactly in our database is this information saved. So for that, I'll have to move on to the code section, and once I go to the code section, I'll click on the DynamoDB icon right here. Since this skill is already made, and we can see the results straight away. So just have a look at what the DynamoDB table looks like. So currently the table looks like this, where we only have two items, where the first item is the ID and the second item is the attributes. And inside attributes, you can see that the key value is the name, and the value is the date, or rather the date of birth that we just fed it. So if you're not familiar with DynamoDB, so this is like any other NoSQL table, where we have several columns, and if you build a skill with DynamoDB using the regular AWS approach, then you will make additions to different columns that will go here, right after this. As you can see, ID, attributes. Similarly, you will have more columns, so you could have a name column, a date of birth column, and all of that. But in this particular example, we are using DynamoDB persistence adapter that works with Alexa hosted skills. So in this case, everything will be stored just inside this attributes this attributes column. And this attributes column is actually in the form of a dictionary, so all values will be saved in the form of a key and value pair. This ID is like every table needs a unique identifier. If you were to pick information from this table, it would need something which as an anchor point, which you can refer every time and say, give me details. Say for example, give me attributes for the user who is currently using the skill. So how would you know which user is currently using the skill? So for that, what we have is a user's user ID. So ideally, that is the approach that you would take, and you would take the user ID as a unique uh, as a unique ID for each user. And yes, these Shubhamas are the IDs in the database unique to users. Yes, Shubham. What we do, like previously when I used to use AWS, I used to fetch the fetch the ID of the user. I'll actually show you where the ID can be fetched from. So this is the response that we get from Alexa, and if you see, every session has a unique ID. This is the unique session ID, and similarly every user has a unique user ID. So this is the user ID that is unique to the particular user who is currently using the skill. So what our persistence adapter does is that we don't have to code anything special here, but in the approach that is followed by the by the persistence adapter, which we will be using, the user ID is automatically fetched from the request, and it is passed as the unique identifier in all of these cases. So this becomes our unique identifier, and these become the attributes. I'll talk more about the ID in the later part when we talk about the delete operations. But you can understand that this ID is used in all of the operation, like whether you are writing to it, you're reading from the table, you're updating the table, or deleting values from the table. This ID is important because how else will you identify that which which users save data to tamper with. So yes, once we've done that, I've shown you the how the database works. Let's just quickly recap how you assign values to that database and use all of that. So to start with, if you're new to development, you know that there are several types of skill builders which are available. So generally we just use this skill builder called skill builder, but in this particular example, since we are using a persistent adapter, which in this case is DynamoDB, so we'll be using a custom skill builder. The reason for that is that if you scroll down, so you will see that when we define the skill builder, we define it as SB is equal to custom skill builder, and inside that we define the persistence adapter as the DynamoDB adapter. This is the first step whenever you are integrating it with DynamoDB or with S3. So if you want to define the persistence adapter, so you need to use a custom skill builder, and this can just be replaced by S3 adapter in that case. So once you've done that, we imported the custom skill builder. Next we need to do is we need to import the DynamoDB adapter, and we import that from the ASK SDK DynamoDB.adapter. And once we've imported the DynamoDB adapter, we will we'll be using this DynamoDB adapter to create the table. But before we can create the table, we will need a few things that are required for the table creation, which in this case are, the first thing is the DynamoDB region. So if you go to any if you just go to DynamoDB, you can see that over here there are different regions that are that DynamoDB supports and that we can use. So you can, if you were using AWS, you can host a DynamoDB table in any of those regions and just specify the region here. But since in this case we are using Alexa hosted skills, so what we would do is we would simply pick the DynamoDB region from the environment, because the environment variables, there are certain environment variables which contain all of those values. So as you can see here, we do a small get operation like os.environ.get, and when we pass this key, we get the region for the DynamoDB table. Next, we need to fetch the name of the table. Generally, when you create a new table on DynamoDB, you can give it a custom name and just assign that name. But again, as this is an Alexa hosted skill, so you can't really create or delete resources here. We can't create a table on our own or delete table. This table is automatically created, and you can see that we have a unique name given to this particular table that is very difficult to even read and remember. So in order to fetch that, again we'll be taking help of the environment variables where we'll fetch the table name from. Once we have the table region and the table name, we will initialize the DynamoDB resource using Boto3, the Boto3 library. And once we have initialized the DynamoDB resource, we will be using the DynamoDB adapter to finally pass in the table name and the DynamoDB resource, uh, so that the table is created and our DynamoDB adapter is initialized. This is the adapter that we later on pass to the custom skill builder as I just showed you below. Okay, so once all of this is done and you've done this part, your DynamoDB is actually connected to your skill code, and it's up and running and you can use it. So now let's get to business and see what exactly did we do in our in the first part that I showed you. So as you can see here, when we opened the skill, we were greeted with a welcome message and it asked what we would like to do. So that message is coming from our launch request handler. Nothing fancy here, just simple speech output and reprompt message. Once we get this message, we tell the skill that we would like to add a new birthday. When we tell the skill that we want to add a new birthday, it hits the uh, add new intent. Where is that? Add new birthday intent. So I said add new birthday, add a new birthday to the skill. I can say all of these things, and once I say that, I get the this particular intent is hit, and the handler for this intent is searched for in the code. And the handler here contains the speech output and the reprompt, where there is a simple message that it asks us, please to tell them the first name of the user whose birthday we would like to add. So in this case, I just simply said Rahul, right? So when I say that name, it again goes to another intent over here, and in this case the intent name is specify name intent, and inside specify name intent, you would see that we have used a slot, and the type of slot is Amazon dot first name. So whatever slot value is being passed here, we just take that, like when the handler function is called, what we do is we simply uh, pull that value from the slot. As you can see here, the name value is fetched from the slot, which in this case is Rahul, and we save it to the session attribute. The reason why we are saving this to the session attribute is that the information that we want to write to the database is not complete yet. We only have the name part, whereas we also need the date of birth of the user as the value to save it. So we, for the time being, we are simply saving it as a session attribute, and once we have the complete information, we'll write it to our database. Okay, so one part is done. So we'll return the message that okay, now please give me Rahul's date of birth. And when I say that, the user would respond with something like his date of birth is 5th November, as I said in my example. So here is the intent which gets called in that case, and this intent, we have specified a slot which is the DOB slot, and we are using the slot type as Amazon.date. So since we are using Amazon.date, this is a built-in slot type and it can handle all types of date formats. So if I say the 5th of November or the 15th of July or 5 November, it can like even if I say today, tomorrow, all of that stuff, it would recognize those commands and it would convert them into an appropriate date format. Once we have that and this particular intent is called, we handle this intent, which is the specify birthday intent handler. And over here, what we simply do is just like last time, we we fetch the date of birth slot value, and once we have the slot value, we just saved it into a variable called date of birth. Now we have we have the date of birth, and we now need the first part, which is the name. So what we would do is we would simply fetch the name from the session attributes. As I told you, we saved it into the session attributes for this particular reason. And since we have both the values now, the name and the date of birth, we would what we would do is we want to write that to the database. The way we access database S3 and all of that is through a persistence adapter, so or through persistent attributes. So how do we access persistent attributes? Just like session attributes, we get it from handler input dot attributes manager dot persistent attributes. And once we have the persistent attributes, we have loaded them, we simply assign this value as a key value pair. So if you are familiar with Python, you would know that this is how you assign a value to a dictionary. So in this case, the key would be the name and the value would be the date of birth. Once we have the key value pair, we have we've assigned it to the persistent attributes. Now what we need to do is write that to the database. So this particular line, handler input dot attributes manager dot save persistent attributes, when we call this particular function, the save persistent attributes, then all of the data which is inside persistent attributes gets written to the database, and that is how we get the attributes value over here. So this is how a write operation is performed when you're using DynamoDB with an Alexa hosted skill. Hey Anita, uh, good to see new viewers here. We have quite a few today, in spite of the fact that we haven't made any social media announcements today. I just wanted to check how the YouTube's notification algorithm is working, and I feel it's working quite good. That we already have a lot of viewers. So yeah, that's great. So this is like if you were to just summarize the writing operation in just one line. So this is basically the line which summarizes this. That once you have assigned, you have connected the persistent adapter, you have assigned the persistent attributes value, and you have assigned the key value pairs to it. So what do you do to exactly write it? You just call this save persistent attributes function. Okay, now we have done the part where which we have saved it. Now what I want to do is I want to retrieve it, and I want to to fetch it from the database and see what value I've got. So here what I would say is I would say when is Rahul's birthday? Ideally it should have been Rahul's birthday, but for some reason when I was providing the apostrophe s, so it was throwing an error in the in the skill, what do you call it, the interaction model. So because of which the just don't go on the grammar and just bear with me for now. So when I say this,
Rahul's birthday is on November 5th. What else would you like to know?
so as you can see, it fetched my date of birth from the database, and it spoke it. So if you notice, the interesting part here is that the date that is being shown here does not contain the complete year, and it what we see on the page here is 11-05, but what we hear is 5th of November. So just a small thing which I'll show you how you can do that in an Alexa skill if you're working with dates and you want to speak them out in a different manner. So I'll just show you how you can do that. So since here what we said is we asked for when is Rahul's birthday. So let's just search for, which intent is responsible for handling that. And this intent right here, the check birthday intent, is the one which is responsible, to match when a user says that phrase. So when I say when is Rahul's birthday, this intents get called, and we specify an intent handler for this particular intent right here. We are doing some generic things like loading the persistent attributes since we are using the database. So we'll just include this line in all of our handlers, because we'll be using some or the other database values, right? So once we've loaded the values from the database, we need to get the name. Now the name, again, we'll get the name from the slot value, because we need to understand with whose date of birth the user is searching for, actually whose date of birth do they actually want. So we fetch the value from the slot value as before, and to get the date of birth for that user, what we do is simply just like you would do for a normal normal dictionary element, you just pass the key right here. So the name will be the key here, and once we pass on the key to this, once you pass the key to this, we will get the date of birth, and the date of birth will be in a string form. So just to show you that again, so when we get the slot value from the user, we get slot value in the correct format of which looks like a date, but it's actually just a string, right? So as you can see here in quotes, it's just a simple string, and this is what we get returned right here. So once we are returned this value, I don't want the year value anymore, because I don't want to know the complete date of birth of that person when I'm speaking out. Whenever you're checking for someone's birthday, all you want to know is when is their birthday, like the day and the month. You're not actually interested in how old they are, so you would not like to know the year of birth as well. So what I've done is I've just split it for the first hyphen utterance, and then what this does is the split function, it simply splits the string when it encounters the first hyphen, which is this one, and then it would divide it, the resulting value, into two items of a list. So the first item, or the 0th item, would be 1992, and the first item would be 11-05. So in this case, since we need the first item, we will just specify one here in square brackets. So once you do that, in date of birth, we get the value as 11-05. Okay. Once we have that value, what I told you was that we need to speak that value in a special form. So over here, as you can see, we are using the say as SSML action. I don't know what do they exactly call it, but it's an you can say a type of an SSML attribute or something. I'll get you the right wordings when we dive deep into more of SSML, which I'm planning to do in the near future. So for now, you can what you need to know is using SSML, we can actually make a lot of changes to the speech, and we can increase the tempo of the speech. We can add, make it stronger, or change the voice using poly. We can do a lot, by just using SSML. So one of those things is say as. So what we are specifying is, we are specifying that you need to say it as interpret it as a date, and here we have specified the format in which the date is, which in our case is month and year, 11-05. So month and day. So once you have that, it automatically recognizes the day and the month, and simply speaks that out in the right form. Shubham says they are tags. Yeah, I think, Shubham, they are called tags. I'm just missing out on the name, what they are called. But as Shakespeare said, what's there in a name? So let's just focus only on the functionality. Okay. So moving on. This is how you retrieve value from a DynamoDB database. So as you can see, nothing fancy, again nothing fancy here, just this one line fetches the values from the database, and you can access all of those values like any key value pair. Okay, the next what I'll do is I'll simply add another entry just to show you how multiple entries are made, and I'll say add a new birthday, and it'll ask for a name.
Please tell me the first name of the person whose birthday.
So I'll just take Shubham's name.
Okay. Now please tell me Shubham's date of birth.
I don't know Shubham's date of birth, but I'll just guess it as, I'll enter 15 August. That's our Independence Day, but I'll just that's the day that is coming to my mind. 15 August 2000. Any random date just to show you.
I've successfully saved the new birthday entry. What would you like to know?
So as you can see here, right now there is a single entry, but now we have two entries right here. But this entry is a bit incorrect. This entry is a bit incorrect. As you can see, it only took the month and the year, right? So it didn't take the date, so it can cause an issue. So this is actually a very good case, because I can demonstrate here something which is not covered in this example, but which is how can you like we've already covered write and read operations. So another interesting option that people use is the update operation. So the update operation works same as the write operation, since it's a dictionary file. If you overwrite the previous key and value pair, the key remains the same and you just overwrite the value, then the resulting value gets changed. I'll demonstrate it again how. So I'll say add new birthday.
Please tell me the first name of the person whose birthday you want to add.
Shubham.
Okay. Now please tell me Shubham's date of birth.
So I think the issue was I just typed 15.
I've successfully saved the new birthday entry. What would you like to know?
Right. So I just said 15. That is why it didn't save it in the right manner. Since I said 15th now, you can see that it got updated. So this is how an update function works, right? It simply works same as a write function. So whenever you want to update something, just fetch the previous value, update the update the value using the same key, and just write it again, and it will be updated. Okay, we've covered this. Now I need to cover a very interesting thing, which is how can you delete values from a database. So before this, all of this thing you'll get, this is regular stuff and you'll get all of that. But now what I want to demonstrate is demonstrate two things actually. The first one is if you were to delete a single entry from this, so how would you do that? Ideally, what the persistence adapter supports is that it supports a delete function similar to the save, like we saw we had a save persistent attributes function. Similarly, we have a delete persistent attributes function. What that delete attributes function, what that does is that it deletes all of the attributes which are here. So what it does, it takes this unique user ID and deletes all the values including this user ID and all the attributes that we have here. So if we use that function of persistent attributes, then all the entries in the database related to this user ID will be deleted. But ideally, that is not what we generally use. What we need is we just need to make a deletion of one entry from this table, right? So how can you do that? For that, I've prepared two special. Okay, just a minute. So Praveen says, cool, interesting, you're doing good. Thanks for the kind words, Praveen, and I hope you join all our future sessions from here on, and I'll be here if you need, any sort of help. You say ID is not changing. The ID is not changing, Praveen, because we are the same user, right? When we are in the testing console, right now we are the same user. Since the user is not changing, the ID remains the same. So for example, if I was using two different accounts, or for example, if this is a public skill and you start using it at the same point of time on an Alexa device, so that Alexa device and your account would have a unique user ID, and then it would be reflected below this. So this is the reason why you're only seeing a single entry, since I'm only using the test console, and this treats me as a single user as of now. So if you like make some apps which are production ready, and when you go into testing and you test it on multiple devices, you'll see that you get multiple entries over here. The IDs, there will be a lot of IDs. Okay, since we have just some small time left, I'll simply showcase the other. So I'll say delete Rahul birthday, and I'll just capitalize the R so that it doesn't cause any issue.
I've successfully deleted Rahul's birthday from the database. What would you like to do now?
As you can see here, it successfully deleted my birthday from the database, and how I did that, you can see it over here, which in the handler, which is delete specific birthday intent handler. And what this does, it takes the name of the user whose value we want to delete, and simply performs a pop operation that we do on a dictionary. So just a regular thing, if you're a Python developer, we just perform a pop operation where what are we popping, what is the key that we are popping, it's the name, and we just pass another argument which is none, so that in case this key is not found, then this doesn't throw us an error, so it will just handle it in a graceful way. That is why this none argument is here. Otherwise you can just simply pass the name argument to the pop function, and what it does, it deletes that particular value from the persistent attributes dictionary, and then again we simply write that dictionary. So once we have written the new dictionary, since the new dictionary does not contain this key that we popped out, so it we get the updated dictionary where we don't have the element that we just deleted. Similarly, if I just say delete all items,
I have successfully deleted all the birthday records. What would you like to do now?
so as you can see, it said that it has successfully deleted all the elements, and let's just confirm that. As you can see, it deleted all the elements including the unique user ID. So let's have a look how and why it did that. So as I told you before, what we are using for this particular thing is the delete persistent attributes, and the delete persistent attributes function. And what this function does is it deletes all the entries in the table which are related to the current user ID. So if I am the current user and I'm using it, I call this function. So it deletes everything, not just one value or two values. We can't specify a particular value to this function, and once you call this function, everything gets deleted. That is the reason I showcased how you can delete one specific entry if you want to, because I was a bit confused when I started using this. I thought it deletes everything, so it doesn't make any sense. I just want to modify a few values here. So I just applied the regular Python approach using the pop function, and it worked like a charm. Now comes the most interesting part. We still have time, and this is what I really wanted to showcase to you. For this, I'll just quickly have to add the date of births again. So just bear with me while I add this.
Okay. Now please tell me Rahul's date of birth. I've successfully saved. Please tell me the first name of the person whose birthday you want to add. Okay. Now please tell me Shubham's date of birth. I've successfully saved the new birthday entry. What would you like to know?
So again, now I've saved both the entries again, but this time I've specified the year as 2000 just because it doesn't really matter. What really matters is that the date of birth I've chosen for Shubham is 15th of August, and for me it's 5th of November. So when we compare these two dates, so 5th of 15th of August will come first, and that will be followed by 5th of November. So I have also added another another intent in this, which is whose birthday is next. So I can use this skill to add as many birthdays as I want, and this is just an example for a birthday, but I think this will actually help you understand how to work with dates and all of that. And once you understand that, you can simply apply this approach to nearly everything, and you can save anniversary dates or some important meeting dates and all of that in this particular skill. And this particular function that I am going to show you right now is quite helpful in understanding how dates work in Python. Okay, so when I ask whose birthday is next, I should ideally get Shubham's birthday and the number of days which are left between today's date and Shubham's birthday.
Shubham's birthday is coming up next and it is in 199 days. What else would you like to know?
So as you can see here, it told us that Shubham's birthday is coming next, and it also told us how many days are left until his birthday. So let's see how did it do that. To do this, we simply need to understand how datetime works and just perform some operations of datetime. Let me just simply show you something. I'll open up my command prompt. I hope you can see that. Just give me a second. Okay. Yeah, I hope you guys can see my command prompt now, and I'll simply run Python to showcase how this datetime operation is being done. So when I say from datetime import datetime, so it imports the datetime function from the datetime library, and if I assign it to something, I say a is equal to datetime dot date, actually datetime dot today. So if I call the datetime dot today function, you can see that it will when I print a, it will give me it's actually this value which is given back to me. So I'll actually say print a. Yeah, so this is the I get the today's date, the time with seconds and everything. So this is the actual datetime format which Python understands, and this particular library you can use this library to get the convert the string value that we had into a proper datetime format and perform various operations on it. So if you were to get today's date and time, you can do this. Again, you can do the same thing by if you were to use datetime dot now, which is another function just like today and works in a similar fashion. I just say print b and I get the similar values. So both these things work in the same way, but what's different is if I say print a dot day. Yeah, so as you can see here, if I say a dot day, it would give me just the day. If I say a dot year, it would give me the year. Similarly, I can do all of this, and this is the beauty of date time, that if you are working with dates, and you want to do all of these um, different operations on it, so this library really comes in handy. And you can fetch all the stuff from this library. I'll tell you the reason why I am showing you this in just the last part that we are covering. I know we are quite near the end time, but just bear with me for 5 more minutes, and we'll be concluding this session. um, okay, let me just turn off the display capture. Okay, let's just conclude this. What we are simply doing here is, since we don't know the nearest birthday, the name of the person whose birthday is next, we simply make a new variable, which is a string for the name, and it is an empty string. And we simply assign the nearest birthday days as 0, since we don't know it yet. What we need is, see, to make this operation, to understand how many days are remaining between today and the upcoming person's birthday. What we would need is the delta, or the difference between today's date and that particular day which is coming, right? So for that reason, I am taking today's date through the method that I just showed you, current year through the method that I showed you, and I'm taking the name list. So where am I getting the name list from? Again, simple Python operation, that when I do persistent attribute dot keys, so I get all the names that I get back from the database. So in this case, it will be Rahul and Shubham. I get both the name as keys, and they are saved as a list in this name list. So I'll simply run a for loop, and this for loop would be, what we to do is, for name in name list, this time let's say the first name was Rahul. What it would do is, it would take the date by assigning the key value here. This would be replaced by the date which we are getting from the database. And this particular function strp time, what it does is, since the date that we are fetching from the database is in a string format, it will convert it into a date time format, which we can then perform additional actions on. Since right now it doesn't contain the time and all the other stuff, so the datetime library can't really perform functions on it, like calculating the delta between the two dates. So for that particular reason, what we need is, we need to convert this string into a datetime object, and we did this right here. Now we have it in the correct format. What we need is, like we if I fed my date of birth as 5 November 1992, I really don't need to calculate the delta between 1992 and today's date. I need to know when will that particular date occur this year. So for that reason, I just made this new variable called birthday this year, and I'm replacing the date of birth, the year in the date of birth, with the current year that I just fetched from the datetime.today. Also, I am taking another variable called birthday next year. This is for the reason, uh, like if my birthday was on 5th January, right? So my birthday for this year has already passed, right? So in that case, I would need to calculate then how many days are remaining for my birthday, which will come the next year. So that is why I have taken this this variable, which is the birthday next year, and just increment the current year by 1, and do the same thing, like replace the date with that. So this date, you can say, would be 5/11/2021, and this date would be 5/11/2022. Now I would simply compare, as I told you the condition, if birthday this year is greater than today's date, so it should be greater than today's date, right? Since if it's not a past date, then birthday this, how would we calculate the number of days or the delta between the 2 days? What we would simply do is, birthday this year minus today's date dot days. What this will give us, since we have done all the formatting and all of that stuff, it can perform a simple operation where one date minus the other date for this particular year would give us a delta, and when you say dot days, it gives you that delta in exactly the number of days, which is the difference between the two dates. And once we get the difference, we can save it as the number of days remaining. And in case the day has passed for this year, as I told you, if the birthday was on say 5th of January, then we need to calculate the number of days for the next year. So in that case, this is, we calculate it according to the next year. So we say birthday next year minus today's date dot days, the same thing. This is some simple logical operation where, we say if the nearest birthday days is 0, if nothing is assigned to it yet, just assign the first value that we've got from here, the number of days and the name. And then subsequently, we just keep on comparing the nearest birthday days, whichever is shortest. So if we get, like in our case, if it got, my birthday first, so if there were say 300 days remaining for my birthday, and then it tried to fetch Shubham's birthday, and it was 200 days remaining between his birthday and mine. So what it would simply do is it would save the shorter one, in this case Shubham's birthday, and it would just save it as the number of days as 200 and the name as Shubham, and it would just speak out in the way that I just demonstrated to you. So yeah, this is how things work in with DynamoDB, and this is how you can make use of the datetime library and perform different operations related to dates. Let's just have a look at the chat and see if you've missed something. Praveen says, if I ask when is Rahul's birthday, will it say the date? Let's just say go back there, Praveen, and ask when is Rahul's birthday.
Rahul's birthday is on November 5th. What else would you like to know?
As you can see here, since we have made an intent which can handle this request and fetch my birthday from the database and remove the year and speak that out. So yes, this is possible. If you want this to speak out the year as well, so those just skip the operation, the split operation that I performed, and you will get the entire complete date of birth as well. So yeah, this was all that I wanted to demonstrate for this particular week, and this is the session that didn't go well last time, but I hope this time I was precise and you guys were able to follow the entire stream and were able to understand how we can use DynamoDB with an Alexa hosted skill. As always, if you have any questions, you can feel free to write them down in the comment section below, or just post them on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Just DM me anywhere you find me, and I'll be happy to answer all of your queries. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to us, and this is a weekly stream that happens every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and we make Alexa skills using Python SDK, and I'm happy to any kind of suggestions if you are looking to build some kind of skills. So I'm open to all kind of suggestions. One suggestion that has been coming for the past 2 weeks is account linking, and Shubham, I have that in mind, and since we are over with this particular example, so in the next session what I'll be doing is I'll be taking up account linking, and I'll demonstrate how we can do that for an Alexa hosted skill. Don't forget to like the stream if you're new here, and before we leave, I would just like to show you something. It's an announcement for an upcoming stream which will come up tomorrow. So if you're not following Alexa Community India, then just go on to Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you are, and just make sure that you follow Alexa Community India. And the upcoming session that we have is this one, which is coming up tomorrow at 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And in this session, we'll have Jeff Blankenberg, who is the principal evangelist at Amazon Alexa, and he'll be talking to us about people. So that's all the information that we have, in terms of the topic for our next session. But I've talked to Jeff quite a few times, and I've attended a lot of his sessions. So I was actually uh, lucky enough to meet him when he came down to India. Jeff Blankenberg and Amit Jotwani and a lot of other Alexa developers, when they came to India, they visited the Alexa Delhi community, and we had a session with them. So really great stuff. These guys are really knowledgeable. You can say that they are actually at the top level, and they take a lot of decisions that then become features. And even Jeff does a lot of streaming on Twitch, and you can follow his Twitch channel for more updates. So tomorrow he'll be live on the Alexa Community uh, India YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that channel as well, and tune in at 7 p.m. for this particular talk session. That was all for today from my side. Uh, if you guys, I don't know, do you guys want the code for this skill? We already have the DynamoDB example, but if you want the code for this thing as well, just let me know in the chat section right here. I would wait for a minute or two to know the opinion of your guys. If you want the code for this skill. If the answer is yes, I would just upload it to this repo to GitHub, and maybe in a couple of hours, if you check out the description of this video again, you will find the repo for this particular skill as well. I'll do that, but I'll only do that in case you need this example as well, since our DynamoDB example is already there on our GitHub page. So I didn't feel the need to upload this particular example as well. Praveen says where we are reset the skill. Praveen, I didn't get your question. Like, what exactly do you want to reset? I didn't get that. If you can elaborate upon the question, I can surely get back to you. Okay, Shubham says please get put it in the GitHub. Shubham, I'll try my best. If not today, I'll definitely do this first thing tomorrow. And tomorrow, if you like check out this, or if you're watching this video at a later point of time, then just you can check out the description. We already have the basic DynamoDB example GitHub repo link in the description, but I'll try and add this particular code sample as well. And I hope you guys will use it to build some really interesting stuff. So yeah, that's all from my side for this stream, and I would see you in the next stream. Till then, have a great time. Goodbye, everyone.